I said that this time around I was going to be super chill about this knit and not overthink every single decision. And look at me over here overthinking every single decision and being like not even chill at all. Of course, we are knitting our loopy stripe cardigan. This is how it's coming out. Can we get into the color? Okay, friends, well, here's the dilemma. Here's the problem. I am like feeling this color change. I am, but I don't know. I feel like the variegated skein to this light purple, these two, it's starting to look muddy, low key. Like maybe instead of the variegated and the purple, I should have done variegated, one more of like the lighter color, and then like switch to the darker gray color instead of the light purple. I don't know. The thing with me is if I don't like the way that the colors are positioned, it's very difficult for me to kind of just like ignore it and move on. I'm going to obsess over the color transition not turning out the way that I want it literally forever. And so I'm thinking that I should just frog it. I'm thinking that I should just frog it. I know it's so annoying to have to go back and like frog rows or fix mistakes, but the way that my brain works, I'm not gonna have a good time knitting this if I can like still think about, you know, like how I wish this color was different. So we are going to frog 3 rows. I don't like, oh, in knitting, no doubt frogging is like my least favorite thing to do. I want to keep the stitch markers in place, but low-key I feel like it's going to be a little bit difficult. I wish I could just like let it go, like, oh, it doesn't matter, you know, like maybe it's not that serious, but like it really is that serious. I think personally, I feel like, especially if you're gonna make like a big project like a cardigan, I mean really with any of your knits, but more specifically like if you make a big project, I feel like if you're gonna spend so much time knitting, you know, like what's it to go back a couple of rows, you know, take an hour or so to fix your mistake. And it's like I already have so many hours ahead of me, I might as well go back and fix what I don't like instead of, you know, spending more hours making something that, you know, like now I'm kind of irritated because it's not going the way that I want it to go. I really don't want to, but my brain will not let me rest. So I'm going to frog back these 3 rows and by some miracle try to keep the stitch marker in the right place. Friend, are you a chill knitter or are you a I have to fix every little tiny mistake knitter? Please let me know. I really wish I could be like one of those people who, you know, like accepts the fact that when you hand make things, they're not going to come out the way that you envision them all the time. Like for me, if something's not going right, I'm like in my mind, I'm like, okay, wait, I have to start over. But I promised myself that I'm not going to restart this cardigan. Even just this version, I've already restarted it. Like, friend, I'm not gonna lie, I lost count. So no more restarting, but I am gonna go back and fix my mistake. I'm kind of like thinking, what would be the easiest way to frog the last 3 rows? Should I just take the needles out completely? And then also like on the front increase, I don't know if it's just up on camera, but like on the front increase, I don't know what happened. Maybe I was spacing out just a little bit, but the increases are like, I don't know, they're not in the right place. So that's also a reason why, you know, like I'm gonna go back and frog. Friend, I don't know if this is a good idea actually. My frogging method is a little bit chaotic, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just gonna pull all of the needles out and the stitch marker and then hope for the best. I can't tell if this is gonna be a good idea or if this is like the worst idea I've ever come up with. What's it called when you make a small mistake on a project and it literally feels like the end of the world? What do you call that? I have whatever that is. I frogged back the 3 rows and I'm on the row where I need to put the needles back in the yarn. I don't know, is there an easier way to do this, friend? When you have to frog back a bunch of rows, how do you do it? I feel like frogging back each individual row would have been kind of a nightmare. I'm like breaking up a sweat low-key. I think the first stitch marker goes here. I don't think I dropped any. I really don't think I dropped any. I was trying to be like super cautious, but I was unable to get the stitch markers in 2 of the spaces just because I was so concentrated on, you know, like not dropping a stitch. I wasn't paying too close attention to the stitch markers, so we're gonna put the stitch markers back in place. I was gonna say I'm hoping this is the last time I have to frog this project, but I feel like it's probably not. It's probably not, right? I'm too indecisive. Okay, and then there's one more stitch marker, right? I was going to go back and use this one. This is like my variegated tan-ish beigeish color. That's the color of these stripes right here. But like low-key, friend, what if I went to just the light gray? I feel like that would be okay, right? Because I'm going to use this dark gray as well. So maybe these two colors, and then I'm gonna switch back to this one. So like the purple and the gray. I could also switch to this one. I'm like thinking, should I do like a really quick swatch of what these colors look like next to each other before I commit? I feel like these two would be cute, like this taupish color and then this blue variegated color. But I worry that it might be muddy the way that I thought like these two together were muddy. I am switching though to a darker color, so I guess like doesn't matter too much. Friend, I don't know. I'm literally so indecisive when it comes to choosing my colors. That's the only thing about doing a project with like so many different colors to choose from. And the color placement definitely makes or breaks your project. I'm thinking I might go with this one actually. The next color A, the dark color I'm gonna use, is like this gray, and I feel like this taupe and this gray will be cute. And then I'm gonna switch to this gray, not this gray, the taupe and the dark purple. So I'm gonna do a couple rows of these two and then switch to a couple rows of these two. That'll be cute, right? I guess we're gonna see. Really, you don't know until you take a chance. Switching to this taupe color, no, I did not make a swatch. We're going off of vibes. Fingers crossed that this comes out, I don't know, friend, better than I think it's going to in my head. Okay, knit, knit. Also hoping I didn't drop any stitches. We're manifesting no dropped stitches. Okay, I think I put the stitch marker in the wrong place actually. I'm at the first stitch marker and I'm like, wait. I'm gonna be honest, friend, I don't have my glasses on. Let's see. I think I put the increase in the wrong space. I don't know if I put the increase in the right place, but like low-key, I think this is where we're just gonna have to leave it. If the increase ends up not being in the right place, what's like the worst thing that could happen? Like the shape would look a little bit weird, right? But other than that, would it be okay? Okay, low-key, friend, I have no idea where the increase is supposed to go. I think where I put it is okay, but I really can't tell. And so I think instead of going absolutely crazy over this, I'm just going to leave it. And we're going to hope for the best. I told you this knit was mainly vibes. Is this color change okay? It kind of is still a low contrast to the variegated color, but I think because I'm going to switch to the dark gray, I'm not going to continue with the variegated color. I think that'll be okay. Friend, it's going to have to be okay. I'm not going back and doing this. Okay, I'm going to try to knit the row of this taupe color, and fingers crossed I can figure out whatever is going on with these increases. And then we're gonna add the dark gray. And hopefully that should look, I think, a lot better than how the light purple was looking. Gosh, I'm really nervous about these increases. I feel like so much of the shape is in the raglan increases, and mine are like kind of a hot mess. Okay, I'm still on the first row after my big frog, and friend, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I'm already regretting this color. It's like, for real, am I gonna go back again? No, like I'm already messing up on these increases. And if I make too many mistakes, we already know I'm gonna jump ship. I think I should have went with this lighter color. I think when this taupe gets to the blue, the contrast is a little bit too low for me. Yeah, I am gonna add this dark gray next, but I low-key feel like I should have just done this one or frogged back 2 more rows for the variegated and then started the gray color. But I don't know, maybe I'm just being like super nitpicky and kind of weird about this. I'm just gonna keep going, and then we're gonna add the darker gray, whatever it ends up being. I guess that's gonna be our wabi sabi, because low-key, I think it's kind of ridiculous to go back and frog again. Like I really can't, especially when I get to these increases. I'm having a really difficult time like seeing where the marker is supposed to go, which stitch is which, and like I don't want to make so many mistakes, you know, that the cardigan starts looking weird. So we're just gonna persist and go forward. This is realistically what happens when I'm knitting, but whatever. I'm trying not to be like so in my head, because I know at the end when I see all of the colors together, I'm gonna be like, oh, I like that, but it's like, ugh, girl, you ain't gonna never get there. Always trying to correct every single little tiny mistake. Hopefully I like this taupe better than the purple though. Could you imagine I did all that frogging and I'm like, oh, the purple looked better. That was our frog of the day. No more frogging for the rest of the day. And we're just gonna keep moving forward. For a brief moment, I thought about making like a swatch, like testing the colors next to each other, seeing kind of the general idea of the order of the colors. And I was like, I don't know, that seems like too much work, but like, low-key, friend, I'm thinking about going back and still making a swatch. Gosh, this is already a mess and I'm like barely. How many rows am I? Even 20 rows in? Okay, let me finish this row and then purl it and then add the gray, and then hopefully, you know, the colors end up sorting themselves out, because I don't know, it kind of It's getting a little bit messy on my side, and I don't know, like I don't want to make it worse. If you came here to watch a chill knitting channel, I fear this will not be it. Last night, I guess we were kind of just the same place where we left off. Now that I'm really looking at it and like it's the daytime and I'm knitting, I regret putting this taupish color, this color right here, with this one right here. The reason I had frogged it was because I felt like, I don't know, when I was knitting these two up, like there wasn't a big enough distinction, I guess. Like the contrast was too low. Is that what I'm trying to say? In my mind, they felt like too muddy. That's the only way that I can really describe it. But low-key, this one is worse. And so I'm just like, oh, frog it, start over, start the whole thing over, start the whole thing over. I'm battling those voices literally so bad right now. I put in the stitch markers. I put them in the best of my abilities. I'm at this last stitch marker right here, but like low key on the other ones, I can't tell if the stitch marker is in the right place. And I feel like if I keep, you know, continuing forward and the stitch marker is not in the right place, then my increases are going to be off. And then, you know, like the front of the cardigan is already going to start looking weird. Now I'm like thinking, since the color that I added, since this one, you know, is like, I'm not really feeling it. I'm really not. I'm just like, low-key, I should have just left the purple then. Like if I wasn't gonna like the color, you know? But I'm on an increase and it's like, I can't tell if that's where it's supposed to go. But in my mind, I'm like literally thinking like, was there an easier way for me to take all of the stitches off the needle without having to frog, you know, each individual row? And I'm like, I don't know. The only other thing I could have thought of honestly was just to frog each individual row and like make sure, you know, I keep the stitch markers in place, which I guess I could have done. Low key. I'm like really nervous, I think. And then also all my stitches got twisted up when I just yanked the needles out of the project. Yo, no chill. I feel like if you have more than like 50 or like 60 stitches and you have multiple rows to frog, do you just like pull the needles out and pull back the yarn, you know, and like try your best to catch them how I kind of did? Or do you like go in strategically row by row, stitch by stitch to make sure that you don't drop anything or mess anything up? I feel like if I were using like super small needles and small yarn, like similar to my Mew top, then, you know, like I wouldn't have just yanked the needles out like that. But I feel like with weight 4 yarn and 6mm needles, like, I don't know, like I didn't want to go back and I didn't want to frog each individual row. I think I had like 3 of like the 2 color blocks, so I had 6 rows. And so it's like, I didn't want to do it like, I don't know, it just felt like too much for me. This is what I have after picking up all of the stitches, doing my best with the increase. I feel like I'm too early in the process to already be having, you know, like low-key big mistakes. I'm very concerned about the increases. I'm like, should I keep going? I have this giant nagging voice in my head that's like, start over, start over. And then also it's like, low-key, I did all that frogging and it's like, I don't even like this color right here. I did get my other pair of needles. I think for my brain specifically, it makes a lot more sense to maybe pair the colors together and see, you know, like the contrast, because I feel like when you see these 2 colors together, you know, like there's enough distinction. But when I knit them up, mainly because this is variegated, you know, and there's purple in different sections, I didn't like the way that they looked together. And so my process the first time that I made the cardigan and the second time was kind of just whatever the mood strikes, whatever I think, you know, would be a cute color it would switch into is what I would do. But actually, I think I'm going to make a swatch and just see like different color combinations together. Friend, don't be mad at me. Low-key, I think I might start over. Bruh. I have this weird thing where I don't like to use like different thicknesses. I don't like when the same weight of yarn is like a different thickness, if that makes sense. So I wanted to use my Barocco, I wanted to use my Noro, I have some Cascade, but they're all like different thickness. So like the Noro yarn is actually pretty thick. It's a weight 4 yarn, but it's the thickest out of all of them. And then the Barocco, it's not as thick as the Noro, but it's so much thicker than like the Malabrigo, the variegated. And so kind of when I'm knitting, I don't know how to explain this. Started the cardigan off with the Cascade and the Malabrigo, and they're about the same thickness. So knitting them up together, I think, you know, was really nice. But then when I want to switch the color to like the Noro yarn. I'm like, oh, it's so much thicker than, you know, the yarn that I'm coming from. Maybe like, let me just switch to another Cascade and a Malabrigo. And that's kind of how I ended up. Literally, you know, like so many rows, and all of this so far has been Cascade and Malabrigo. And I kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, I think I'm just going to use the Cascade and Malabrigo and then not use, you know, like my Barocco and my Noro yarn. I feel like all of the colors together would be really pretty. I don't know if this makes sense. I don't want to leave any of the colors out. I'm going to do a swatch of the colors just because low key, I feel like I'm going to be playing the what color goes here? I don't like this color. I should frog it. I'm going to be playing that game for the entirety of this cardigan. That's literally what happened with my last version. And it's like, no, we're not doing that. So I'm going to take some time. I was putting this off just because I was like, oh my God, like, who cares? Who cares? Like, it's supposed to just be, you know, random and scrappy. But one thing about me, no chill. I never had no chill about this. Random, scrappy, in my mind means meticulous and well thought out and most likely overthink. And so I think to just take the pressure off myself just a little bit, because friend, I know, but I think I'm gonna frog it. I think I'm gonna frog it just because I'm literally like terrified about these increases. Also, the color that I switched it to, I hate it. And so I'm like, why did I mess up the cardigan for what? Literally was no reason, literally no reason. And so I'm kind of just like, also I need to figure out how to incorporate the yarns that are a little bit thicker, because I do want to use everything. I feel like if I only use my Malabrigo and my Cascade, my palette is limited just a little bit. And I have so many beautiful colors. Like, how can I not use my Noro? Actually, how can I not? I'm gonna take the next, you know, like hour or so, I guess, and I'm just gonna swatch all of these colors, and I'm gonna come up with a solid scheme, a solid pattern to follow. A little bit tedious, but I think it will make the next time around a lot smoother, because low-key, I'm actually losing my mind. This is supposed to be relaxing, and I was really excited, you know, for this project, and low-key has been nothing but stress. Okay, I'm actually really happy I did a swatch. In doing the swatch, I'm realizing that this gray color is absolutely too harsh. It's too dark. I think I'm just going to keep the darkest color, this purple. I do also have this maroon from Barocco, but I feel like because they're so close in color, like, should I even try to incorporate this one? It is kind of taking me some time to do the swatch. I decided to do 12 stitches across, but I think it's beneficial just because, you know, like, imagine I would have laid down an entire row of this dark gray only to realize, you know, like, I don't even like it with the color scheme. So I feel like in that sense, it's worth it. I'm going to, I don't know, I didn't think about how long I'm going to make the swatch. I guess just until I use all of the yarns and I can kind of see, you know, like what colors to lay them next to each other. So far, I feel like doing the swatch was a good idea. We're just gonna keep going. I'm gonna try to see how I can incorporate this super bright pink color, because I'm just like, I don't know, I feel like this is like the outlier of all of the yarns, but let's keep going. It's so much easier to just pull out 2 rows of 12 than 2 rows of 50 plus. After a little bit of swatching, I think I figured it out. This is the big swatch that I made, and honestly, I still do not like this baby blue. I don't know if I'm biased because, like I mentioned, it's a little bit thicker than the Malabrigo and the Cascade yarn. Maybe there's something in my brain where I'm just like, I don't know. But then also it's just like the color, like, I don't know, I'm not feeling this blue with the rest of the color scheme. I think it looks really pretty in the pile with all the yarn, but realistically in the knit, I'm really not feeling this blue. I'm not. Also, the Noro, not feeling the Noro either. It is significantly thicker than the other balls of yarn, and I feel like it makes the texture look kind of weird when you knit it up. And the fabric is also so much denser just on this one little section than it is the rest. So I've made the executive decision. We're gonna ditch this one, and we are going to ditch the Noros. That's the thing about knitting, is like, you come into it, you know, thinking you're gonna do X, Y, and Z, and very quickly you were humbled. We'll have to save these for a different project. Also, when I'm thinking about it, really the only color that I like with this variegated is the color that I put here on this first draft. I actually really like the way that these colors are. And so since I'm not using this lighter blue color, I think I am just gonna stick with my 2 Malabrigos, and then the rest is Cascade, just because I want to keep the same like thickness of the yarn. I keep saying that, but like, I don't know. I'm also going to take this hot pink out. You can see in the swatch, I don't know, I feel like it's really overpowering. I feel like it's too bright. I like, you know, like the purple and the subtle blues. I feel like this hot pink is, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. I do still have this pink right here. I might swatch it and then maybe we'll use some of this like in like the cinched waist part if we want to add some pink. Also, this pink is a little more purple and this one is just bright hot pink. The way that the colors are organized are color A's and color B. Color A are the darker colors, color B are the lighter tones. And originally I had this one just because, you know, it's a lighter purple compared to this one. I had considered this a light tone. My color B's are just going to be these yarns. Anything that's not beige or neutral, I'm going to consider a color A. You can see this mini swatch that I did right here, where this light purple and then that little neutral color. I actually really like this. I'm thinking, am I going to restart? I think I am, just because my increases are kind of weird, and now that I have a better grasp on the colors that I'm going to use. Also, it's like, you know, the last row that I didn't like that color, and but now that I know which colors that I am using and I've categorized them a little bit better, I'm hoping no more frogging. This is like literally the last time I'm frogging. I swear on everything, this is the last time I'm going to frog this project. Yes, I am going to be following kind of this similar color scheme, but I also might make the purple. Should I make it like just a little bit shorter? Okay, so I'm taking everything off the needles. I know, friend, but it has to be, you know, something I'm gonna be proud of. And I feel like if we're only, you know, 20 rows in or so, that's better than getting all the way through the project and then being unhappy. So I'm going to be a little bit more cautious, but we're taking everything off the needles, and I'm gonna try to sort the yarn just a little bit, and then we're gonna start over. I am going out tonight, so this is actually where I'm going to stop. It didn't take me too long to get to this position, actually. This is maybe less than 2 hours of like really focused work. So that's also why I'm not making, you know, like a huge deal over frogging it. It feels worth it, even though frogging it, you know, is kind of a mess, and this is like my 800th time doing it. I'm gonna get ready, and then when I come home tonight, we'll tackle whatever this is. I'm feeling excited now that I have a more clear plan of what we're gonna do next. Okay, it's hours later and I'm back at home, so I thought let's do a little OOTD. Jeans are thrifted, literally my favorite pair of jeans ever. They're Lucky brand. I got so lucky with these jeans. They fit like a glove. The sheer undershirt is thrifted as well. I don't know, like this little tee on top. Friend, my outfit is super basic. I feel like these days I've really just been wearing a t-shirt layered on top of a long sleeve, straight leg, baggy-ish pants. Like this is kind of my uniform right now. Wearing my Doc Martens. Also, I'm having like the best hair day in the whole entire world, actually. Fingers crossed that it looks this good tomorrow as well. I was thinking about my cardigan. I really have been thinking about it all night. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like frogging back all of the rows when I plan to do, you know, like the same color scheme, that sounds a little bit, I don't know, like it sounds a little bit crazy. I feel like what I'm going to do instead is try to just pick up maybe the stitches in one of these rows, and then I don't know, friend, I really don't know. But it's already getting late, so we're gonna work on this knit tomorrow. I didn't get much done today. I guess it's just how it goes sometimes. I'm kind of upset, I'm not gonna lie. I had planned to spend today making progress, and I've literally just been dancing in circles and kind of tripping over my own feet. So I don't know, but we're gonna, no more knitting for the rest of the night. Okay, friend, that's actually all I have for today's video. This did not go the way that I planned it at all. My idea was to show you my progress, and I was gonna knit a few rows and we were gonna see how the colors came together. But of course I got stuck on this one little part. But I guess this is realistically a part of my process. If you made it to the end of the video, I absolutely love you. I know this was low-key a mess. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.